Welcome back to another week of Instigating with Clarky and Drury, brought to you as always by our friends at Cool Bet Canada. Great time to get on the site right now. They got a bunch of promotions, and I've been hammering the bet builder on the NHL Stanley Cup Finals. So visit our friends at Cool Bet Canada. Of course, our friends at the Listowel Squash Courts, Listowel Vision Care, see the game, and our friends at Hanover Raceway. Don't miss all the excitement of live harness racing every Saturday, running from June 4th through September 17th. Post time always 1:30 p.m. Bring the family and come have a great time enjoying the sights and sounds. We bet you'll love it. Visit them at hanoverraceway.com for details on their upcoming events. And remember, we are going to be at Hanover Raceway coming up pretty soon in July. We're thinking we're going to be there for the Women's Driving Championship weekend. Go on hanoverraceway.com. They got a lot of great events coming up. That's one of them. And it's looking like it's earmarked that we are going to be there on the beautiful patio. Clarky and myself, joined by Clarky now as always. And that'll be a fun time. And it's a fun time to be a sports fan in general, not just a harness racing fan, Clarky. As the Stanley Cup final, I'm sure producer Adam is just fidgety behind the camera today because
it's over now.
His Avalanche. Well, you think so? Like this,
for sure.
The nails in the coffin for the two-time defending Stanley Cup champs.
Over.
Yeah.
Done.
It feels like that. It felt like
Tampa had won last night. If they had if Colorado had only 5 guys on the ice, they could have maybe held on. But
okay, so let's just take this piece by piece here.
And this is what let me just get it. Gary Bettman is very quick, right, to talk about how the penalties are up in the playoffs, and people, you don't know what you're talking about. We officiate the same way as we do in Game 6 of the finals as we do in Game 6 of the preseason, and blah blah blah. And playoff penalties are actually up in the playoffs. Yeah, because they call BS penalties early, as we saw in the Leafs series, and then they called nothing last night after the second period. Basically nothing. Like there was like a hit from behind, a hook to the hands with a minute left in the game for Tampa, no call. And then in overtime, Colorado has 6 guys on the ice by 35 feet.
So, okay.
Could have been called. It was too many men.
So let's dig into this piece by piece. Colorado winning game 4. We're recording this Thursday, the 23rd, right? The evening following a dramatic overtime winning goal for Nazem Kadri, who played his first game since getting injured in, I believe, game 3 of the Edmonton series when Evander Kane hit him from behind. Amazing that he just played. And I think it's such a feel-good story given the racial abuse that he and his family suffered during the St. Louis series, after his collision with Jordan Binnington. And Naz is like a well-liked guy. And I think everybody, kind of felt good for him. Like it was almost a poetic goal that if the Avs end up finishing this thing off with, which it certainly feels like they can now heading back home on Friday.
It's over. I told you it's over.
It will stand as one of those memorable goals to a fan base where people say, hey, remember that Kadri goal? How cool that was. So I'm really happy for him. You're right. The NHL, so if you're not familiar with this, I don't know how you're not, if you didn't watch the game or saw some highlights over the last couple of days. Yeah, there was a controversy surrounding the goal, I should say, where Kadri is jumping off the bench early to replace Nate McKinnon at center while play is live. And hockey's one of those weird sports. One of the weird things about it is, you don't switch guys off in timeouts. It's live. You switch guys off as play is going. And we can say all the old adages. There's 4 sets of eyes out there. Linesmen can call and typically do call the too many men on the ice calls.
Yeah.
How did they miss this? Whatever. Here's my feeling on it. When I saw it, and I'm not just saying this to sound like I'm the smartest guy in the world, because I'm not. When I saw the goal live, I said, because I was on a FaceTime call with a friend of mine who's an Avs fan who was very happy. I said, hey, was there too many on there? And then when they showed the replay again, I said, ooh, that's pretty close, but you can't challenge that. That's one of the few things that you can't challenge. So now the whole debate's raging. Should NHL Department of Player Safety review all game-winning overtime goals like they do in the NFL? The NFL reviews
every
every
play.
score. And a lot of people like, Brian Hayes and, people like that are not going to be a fan of that, but maybe they should. Now, here's what I felt about it when I saw the replay for the first time after going, was that too many? I didn't think it mattered necessarily in the terms of the balance of what happened in the play, because McKinnon was not involved in the play. Now, there's a lot of debate raging online right now about what the rule says and the spirit of the rule. By all technicality, and I hate that we have to do this, particularly as NHL fans right now, we got to get people on Google looking up the rule book and stuff instead of just being able to go, wow, what a big win by the Avs. No, we've all got to turn into Twitter police now and do this. By letter of the law, it is too many men.
Absolutely.
It's supposed to be within 5 feet. Kadri jumps early.
Way early
about that.
Way early.
And his guy, and he touches the puck. This is the key.
Absolutely.
Yes, I will listen to your argument and say, yes, does this get let go a lot? Because it's subjective where the guy is coming off and how involved he could potentially be in the play. So I will listen to that argument and say, yes, I don't think that Nate McKinnon floating slowly to the door had an impact on that puck going in. However, the reverse argument of that is, yes, he did, because Nazem Kadri should not have been in that spot on the ice crossing the blue line with the puck before McKinnon was within 5 feet of the bench. Now, if this happened to my team in the Stanley Cup final, I would be smashing tables stone cold at WrestleMania style. Do I have a problem with the rule being applied like this because I feel like the player going off didn't have an impact on the goal going in? Yeah. However, by the letter of this rule book that they have, that technically should have been called. Okay. Go ahead, Clarky.
So first of all, this guy's played in the league long enough. We got to get his name right. Nazem Kadri. It's not Kadri, it's Kadri. First of all, let's say his name right.
Yep.
Okay. Secondly, the funny part about it is, if Kadri hadn't have been 35 feet over the boards and was only 3 feet over the boards, it probably would have been a penalty if he touched the puck, because you could see it happen, right?
Yeah,
if he was right in front of the bench. But because he blew it so early, probably nobody saw it. But again, my point is, have a guy upstairs to be able to see that. Because it's too fast of a game now downstairs.
Well,
Kadri comes on the ice way early. Again, if he had to come on and touch the puck right away, everyone would have screamed, too many men. But because he was so far over at center ice, basically, when it happened, I think it was missed. Well, I'm not sure if it was missed or the guys just didn't want to call it. But yeah, it was a big play. And
that's the thing that we're wrestling with as fans and observers of it, right? Again, when you're invested at any level in how any particular sports team or athlete does, when you have any moderate level of emotional investment at your very core, no matter what, all of us that love sports to any extreme are selfish. We want our team to get all the calls. We want our team to win.
Yep.
And so that's why I readily admit that if this happened to the Capitals in a cup final, I would be burning
I know.
the NHL office down.
Dude, so would I. Especially when they call that goal where Stamkos scored on the Leafs on the interference call by Justin Hall. That happens 35 times a game. I'm just saying they go out of their way to make a call in that game, in game 7.
Yeah, that's
and they
why
let something go.
That's why I know you would feel like this, because you're not going to have any sympathy for John Cooper, a guy who, keep in mind, his team went on 2 dominant cup runs.
For John Cooper, but they got ripped off.
Yeah, but in the grand scheme of calls going against teams and things not falling your way, I doubt very much you have a ton of sympathy to offer, given specifically what happened against that team to your team this year and other years in the playoffs. And me too, up until my team won. I could go back and cite plenty of times where I thought the Capitals got hosed and whatever. Like we can all come up with 1,000 examples. Yeah. Boy, our team would have won if the ref had just done this.
Well, and that's the thing.
And I understand. Like, but I think, like, what is the percentage in your head where you think this might turn into another watershed moment where something is significantly changed in terms of the review process, and this ends up being the next Matt Duchene offside?
90%. They'll make something happen in the offseason
where every game-winning goal, like every overtime winner, is reviewed, and the teams have to stand there and wait.
But
like the NFL,
at the end of the day, and I was trying to get a hold of our friend Brian Lewis, because if you remember, our friend Brian Lewis was the guy who had to face the music, face the media when Brett Hull scored the game-winning goal against the Sabres.
That's right.
In the crease, he had to go face the media that night because the NHL didn't want to have to call back a game-winning goal in the Stanley Cup final. And at the end of the day, if at the end of the day, here's what I ask:
when do the rules count?
And not only that, if this was game 6 or whatever, game 5, let's say it's game 5 and Colorado won the cup with that goal, would the league have the balls to overturn that after the fact? The team's gone nuts. They're celebrating the goal. Like they didn't to Dallas.
I don't think they would.
Right. So what's the use of having rules? Right.
I don't think they would. And because of this acceptance that we all have to have and have had to have through the existence of sport, of human error, both on the part of our teams and the people officiating them, that will just never happen. There's no ground rules. Like in baseball, you can play a game under protest. That doesn't mean that, you're going to get a redo, like unless something extremely egregious happens, right? Which is just not going to happen. The leagues are not going to admit, particularly the NHL, which is the most arrogant league in terms of going, no, we're always right. Our officials are always right. Remember a few years ago when that weird thing happened, I think in a Columbus playoff game. No, it was a regular season game. And someone scored and it should have counted, or no, they got scored against and it was deemed it shouldn't have counted. And the clock kept running and they got the time wrong, something like that. And the NHL had to come out in a regular season game and admit that it was handled improperly. And they had to come over, and remember John Tortorella was still the coach and he was losing his mind. And after the game, he was freaking out. And like they're never going to do that in a playoff game. And I mean, the Brett Hull thing sealed it, because then this weird thing occurred, and Brett Hull will defend this to this day to everyone who asks him. I'm sure he gets asked this once a week about the foot in the crease. Yeah. And it's a shame that he's known for that because he's an all-time great player. But
it shouldn't have counted in my mind.
This narrative got made up where he always claims the NHL sent a memo out to teams at the start of the playoffs that if you had possession, you could have one foot in the crease.
But he didn't have possession. Look up when he went into the crease.
Well, he
that's the thing. And that's what Brian Lewis will tell you.
He'll fight tooth and nail.
No, I was trying to just look up on the fly too. That did the league say anything today? Did they release a statement about like the rule and how it was a judgment call or something?
Yeah.
Did they say something today? I can't find it.
But they essentially said nothing though.
I know, but by saying nothing, they're admitting they made a mistake in my mind.
Well, that's how a lot of us are taking it. It was a bizarre thing. And that's the thing. Like, just don't.
Well, I know that's the thing though in my mind. If they didn't say anything, then I think, okay, no problem. By saying something, they're saying, yeah, we screwed that up.
Here it is. Statement from NHL Hockey Ops, which I believe Colin Campbell runs.
Coley, yeah.
On the OT game 4 winning goal. A too many men on the ice penalty is a judgment call that can be made by any of the 4 on ice officials. Something we all already know.
Yeah.
I would think most of us know.
Yeah.
Following the game, Hockey Ops met with the 4 officials, as is their normal protocol. In discussing the goal, each of the 4 officials advised they did not see a too many men on the ice situation on the play. This call is not subject to video review either by Hockey Ops or the on-ice officials. That's the statement, which essentially just says nothing.
None of them saw it. Yeah, right. No, well,
that's not a statement.
But again, they wouldn't.
Nothing was shared with us. Nothing was shared with us here.
Yeah, I guess I may be just reading between the lines and in the fact where.
Well, saying, I understand.
Hey, you know what? Something happened
know what
here.
This means.
All the guys on the ice missed it, but sorry, we can't review it.
We screwed up, and our hey, and
Gary
I'm not.
Bettman will be front and center saying how great they are and how much they don't make any mistakes.
I'm not going to pretend that I should
until
do
this league gets rid of this guy. They're never going to get into the 21st century.
They're not getting rid of Short Gary, buddy. They are not getting rid of Jerry.
80 years old.
Jerry's not that old. He's like late 60s.
I think
he's not that old. It doesn't matter.
He is the oldest
Jerry's
commissioner,
not going anywhere. Yeah. No, I think he is the longest tenured commissioner. Yeah. Yeah. Jerry's not going anywhere. And the constant speech that he has to give about we have the best officials in the world. I don't know about that. So, but again, it was thrown into controversy again last night, which is a shame because let's get back to the hockey side of it, I guess. I mean, Colorado getting themselves back into that game, a number of missed calls. You're right, particularly in the third, the hit from behind that Kucherov threw, the slash in on the hands of, I believe, Sorelli, the Hedman non-call. Like there's just so many you could pick out, but Colorado is now a win away from their first cup in 21 years since the the famous handoff to Ray Bork, which is still, I think, the classiest moment in maybe in the history of the sport. It was incredible. They're that close to celebrating again at Mile High, and it's pretty darn exciting, man. And this team has gone on an all-time dominant cup run. Like if they can seal this thing up in 5, 6, unlikely 7 now, but if they can seal this thing up here, they've taken down one of the juggernauts of the modern day, and they've done it in really impressive fashion. Like this team. Oh yeah, they're good. They're the better team. So I want to say, no question about it. I just wish they hadn't won the game last night illegally. That's all I say. But they dominated the last part of the game, the last half of that game. They dominated it. Overtime, they were. Oh yeah, they were for sure. Next level. Absolutely, they were. Yeah, like they deserved. Deserved. Yeah, it's a hard thing to say in sports with these subjective rules, but like I still walk away it sucks for Naz too. Just because like what a poetic I actually stood up and cheered a little bit for him. Like after everything that he went through, like I said earlier, and it immediately had to get followed by this. And in that moment of that wave of reality washing over me, I kind of agreed with what Hayes usually says. Maybe we have leaned too far into relying on technology to just have everything about sports be perfect. Sports is not perfect. It never will be. It doesn't matter how many cameras we have. There will be mistakes made. As long as we have human beings, absolutely, down here, I don't want to watch robots and have. But the thing is, results. Like, and I know what you said about Brian Hayes not liking it. When you have the technology to make things right all the time, and for the amount of money that's bet on these games, more often. Yeah. Okay. I don't disagree. I don't disagree. Yeah. Let's use it. Well, and we'll talk. We'll touch on that with your favorite subject, robot umps, pretty soon here. But yeah, I felt. Ask me about my golf game too. Later. I bore witness to your warm-up. Oh yeah. But you don't know what happened at my tournament. I don't. So let's quickly touch on the NHL awards, of course, the big one. Austin Matthews getting the double, like the big one, the Hart Trophy, and in my opinion, the most important trophy, the Ted Lindsay Award, which is voted on by the players. Yeah. So it fell the way we thought it would. And congrats to him. An extremely significant moment. He's the first Leaf to ever win the Lindsay Award, which is a fairly newer award. Of course, the former Lester B. Pearson Award. And he's the first Leaf in a very long time, since Ted Kennedy, I believe, in like
Teeter, 55, 54, 55.
55. Jeez.
Yeah, it's been
To
a long
win the Hart
time.
Trophy, it's incredible. So it feels like a watershed moment for the Leafs franchise. I know that people are upset, as producer Adam shows us the voting numbers. I know that people are upset with the way the season turned out again. Yes, another heartbreaking exit and everything like that. But
let's talk about these numbers, though, while it's up on the screen.
I just want to quickly say that, again, drawing the comparison to Ovi and the Caps, this is the similar thing. Like, he's raking in that big hardware and good. As long as he man, this guy's 24. The Leafs are going to be in the mix for a long time, led by an all-time great goal scoring talent. I hope he can stay healthy and do the thing.
Yeah. And he and Mitch were on the first team All-Star team.
Yes, that's right.
Mitch was last year. Now Austin is with him. So anyway, there you go.
It's really good.
But yeah, can we get so now look at
the voting numbers? Yeah.
Okay, I get the first three, no problem. But who in the world votes for Kirill
Kaprizov?
Yeah. You can say it better than me. I feel like Don Cherry all of a sudden. Kaprizov, 2 first place votes. I don't get it. I don't understand it. And as we go on here and we see some more voting, they have to start telling us who's putting these votes in. For someone, we'll get to that in a minute. I'm not even going to go to the Norris yet, but we got to be able to know. I'm sure the little commissioners thinks it's the perfect system as well. And we're not it's private and blah, blah, blah. But when guys start voting the way they do, Austin Matthews gets 4 fifth place votes. And I think he got some
60.
I think he got some more than 5th, but they don't break it down because I'm not sure.
Only 1 through 5 votes count.
Right. But
so some guys left him off their ballot, allegedly.
That's what I'm saying.
Insanity.
Isn't that
a guy scores 60 goals? I'm sorry.
Not on the ballot.
Scoring is the hardest thing to do. And a guy leads by that much and hits a historic milestone. 60 is not common, ladies and gentlemen.
No, but I'll tell you, as a Leaf fan,
it's insane.
I had some goosebumps when I was watching it. It was a neat moment to hear his name called. I wish I had known what time it was on. It just seemed like it caught me out of nowhere. Oh, they're tonight. I was driving back from my golf tournament. I didn't get home in time. Why is it on at 7:00?
Leave it to the NHL to poorly run an event.
Right? Game between the games and Makar and Hedman are there. And
I thought that was stupid too.
That's so stupid.
It was stupid.
So yeah, it was a proud moment. I'm happy. And now it's time to move on.
It's fun. And I remember the best memory I had, prior to the Caps finally winning was the year Ovi won all 4 major scoring and voted on awards. He's the only player ever to win the Ted Lindsay, the scoring race, the Rocket Richard, and the Hart. And that was the best memory I had. So that's a significant thing that should be celebrated.
Isn't it crazy though? As good as Connor McDavid is, it's been since 2019. I think he's last year was Draisaitl, right?
Yeah. And it's
it's just crazy how this guy's not winning MVPs every year. He's so good.
You could vote for him every year. He is at that place. It's just the water, and this is the problem with the voting. The waters are so muddy when you leave it up to that interpretation of most valuable to their team. I just think it should just be to the player you thought was the best this year.
Yeah.
What's hard about that? Because then I know it seems unfathomable, but I understand it's 1,000,000% people in Minnesota that gave Kaprizov, those
Kaprizov.
Kirill Kaprizov. Yeah. And he's a phenomenal player. And you know what?
Sure.
He is the type of talented player we saw that year. Taylor Hall won it.
But better than
Kaprizov's the type of guy that could do that. Right.
Let's move on. Let's go to the next one.
Yeah. So the Norris, Cale Makar, who, looks like he's going to have a pretty full trophy case soon, because if they can nail this down, he has to win the Conn Smythe.
Yeah.
He wins the Norris, and boy, it was a tight Norris race.
Right.
Tighter than years. And we talked about this last week with our buddy Bridgie. There's the voting results. Tighter than any year I can almost remember. Like, would anybody have complained if Yossi won? Would anybody have complained if Hedman won?
And that's my thing. Like, Roman Yossi got some MVP votes.
He got 5 first place votes, I believe.
5 first place MVP votes, and he doesn't even win the Norris. And Jack Edwards votes for Charlie McAvoy to win the Norris. And if that vote had gone to Roman Yossi, he win. Like, I'm not saying it was Jack Edwards because we're never going to know. However,
but still,
someone in Boston thought Charlie McAvoy was the top defenseman this year. Like, that just blows my mind. Blows my mind.
It's almost getting to a point, and I know the scribes, like, yes, you're going to have positive feelings toward guys. You cover them, you're around them every day. You develop a relationship, you want them to do well. That's fine.
Right.
We all understand that.
But vote them
I cover a
fifth,
team.
Right?
I cover a team.
Not
it's
first.
hard for me not to feel like I want success for those young guys and everything.
Sure.
I voted. This is the first year that, because OHL media members are surveyed, if you will, on awards. I didn't vote. I didn't vote. I thought inappropriately for a bunch of Guelph players. Like, I did not vote. I'll tell you right now. I mean, I did tweet out who I voted for, because I feel like you should. I mean, it's not the NHL awards. I didn't vote for, Danny Zhilkin to be OHL MVP. I voted for Wyatt Johnston because he was the MVP. The Windsor Spitfires. I voted for Cam Allen to win Rookie of the Year, which he did.
Well, there you go.
Deserved,
but he did. So other people did too.
He deserved to. I felt he deserved to.
Yeah. The voting.
But I didn't put any other Guelph Storm other than Cam.
Yeah. I can see. Okay. I can see a Boston guy 4th or 5th for Charlie McAvoy, whatever. Like, Morgan Riley got 2 4th. McAvoy. I think Morgan Riley got 6 votes, like 4th and 5th place votes.
I just don't think that people watch enough hockey.
Well, it's.
And I actually think it's getting near the point where if you're a scribe in a city, that they got to start doing what they do with the Ted Lindsay, because I believe, because the players vote on it.
Yeah.
That you shouldn't be able to vote for somebody from the team you cover.
Well, but that's tough.
But like, I don't know what else to do here. Like, it's just
all you need to do is make it public, so those guys can't hide behind it, and that will open it up. And like,
it's just so strange to me. Like, God love Charlie McAvoy. I'd love him on my blue line.
Yeah,
I wouldn't put him in the top 5 defense this year.
And Michael Bunting, you know what? 3rd place. Good for Michael. I'm fine with that. Like,
and I feel that his age and the amount of pro hockey he played counted against him. Now, I know what some Leaf fans might say. They go, well, what about Panarin? Panarin put up just like gross numbers.
Let's not compare those two guys. No, I'm fine with it.
Rookie year. Good for him. And Sider, I felt deserved to win. There's the results.
Absolutely. It was a runaway, really.
Cool. So he was fantastic, but like a good nod to Bunting, like deserved to be in the conversation. And then, of course, last but not least, the Vezina. And I didn't really have any problem with any of these results. Like, the Vezina was,
like, let's be honest.
It was Igor. It was Igor. It was Igor. Like, it was.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
However, let's hold on. Who just tell me who thinks Frederick Anderson is a better goalie than Igor Shesterkin? Freddie Anderson got 1 first place vote. Who thinks this?
I know, man. Like, this is what I mean. Like, I don't think guys watch hockey.
Who did that?
Even a loose look at the NHL, which is pretty lacking given what analytics are now. Even a quick glance at the NHL stats page would give you some info. I don't expect every scribe, particularly on the East Coast, to stay up and watch every second of every.
Yeah, but if you're voting for
games.
Freddie Anderson, you're on the East Coast.
Jesus, Fred Band-Aid Anderson,
right? He missed how many months at the end of the season?
And he was legitimately in that conversation the first 3 months of the season.
Well, sure.
But the season's not over at Christmas.
Yeah.
Carolina. Like
Jack Campbell was an all-star too.
Hello.
Thankfully, he didn't get any votes because he didn't deserve any votes.
I saw our friend Steve Dangle, who we're going to have on soon again. He tweeted that he was doing some digging. And back when Sid and Ovi, the lockout return year, where Sid and Ovi debuted, Ovi, of course, won the Calder and should have.
Yeah.
Someone left Sid off the Calder ballot. He had 102 points.
I don't understand.
Off the ballot.
What is the thinking?
Sid.
What is the thinking of not?
It was a Philly writer.
Saying
no
who
question.
Voted for
Philly.
Him. No, but I'm just saying, what is the aversion to tell people who everyone voted for?
I don't know.
Like, it's
why
ridiculous.
Are we protecting this?
Exactly. Like, who's the head of the NHL Professional Writers Association? Is it Pierre LeBrun?
I actually think that the president of the PWHA is Frank Saravalli.
Oh, maybe. Well, he was. I think it might be.
He is. Either way.
PW. What is it? I'm going to Google
the professional PHWA, the Professional Hockey Writers Association. This has got to change. And listen, I know that like sports, we do it all the time. You and I on this show, Clarky. It's instigating for a reason. We disagree on things. There's a subjectiveness to opinions. I think Tom Brady's the greatest. I think Joe Montana's the greatest. I think Peyton Manning's the greatest.
You're right. It is.
Whatever. But when you're like, again, you could just have a glance at the numbers. And the most infamous one, I bring it up a lot quickly, the Jerome McGinley debacle in 2002, where the Montreal guys left him off their ballot and Theodore won MVP. Like this stuff that's not subjective. That's not an opinion. Like if your opinion that year was that Jerome McGinley wasn't good enough to be on the ballot, you should not vote. If you think that Sidney Crosby should have been on the Calder ballot in 05-06, you should probably not vote.
Right.
It's coming from a Capitals fan.
Okay. We've talked too much about this farce. Anyway, congrats to Austin. At least they voted him right.
Congrats. Really quickly, Robo-Umps back in the conversation after the performance that Dougie Eddings put together against between the Jays and White Sox, game 2 of the series. He had a 64% strike accuracy, which is the lowest allegedly.
Bring on the robot.
Since they started tracking this
with it.
Yeah, it's the lowest strike call percentage. He had a couple egregious missed calls, particularly a few against Santiago Espinal. Enough's enough here, guys. This is Dougie Eddings. Take a seat, pal. Yeah. Unbelievable. Really quick before we talk quickly about your golf game.
Yeah.
Which I'm interested in because you hit some, particularly down the back stretch of the 9.
Yeah. Don't tease people. Let's just.
You hit a couple really nice shots, Clarky.
Thanks, buddy.
Did you hear that clip the other day of the Cleveland radio broadcast while the Guardians were playing the Twins?
No.
Calling Miguel Sano fat. Did you hear that?
No.
The Cleveland broadcast, Miguel Sano not playing. He's on a conditioning stint right now. And the Cleveland broadcaster just goes, this is usually Miguel Sano's spot in the lineup. Sano's not hurt. He's just fat. That's what he said word for word.
Wow.
On the broadcast. And Sano's a heavier guy.
Crazy.
He's not hurt. He's just
speaking
fat,
of which,
gentlemen.
Alejandro Kirk is going to make the All-Star team.
Kirk's not that big, dude.
No, he's not that big. The problem with him is he's little.
Yeah, he's not grown in.
He's not your typical baseball player look, but
but good on him.
He's playing well.
Like he's not Prince Fielder here. Let's and he should go to the All-Star game. But geez, talking about taking a shot across the bow. They launched. I wonder if he go into the captain's quarters. He's fat.
I wonder if he's an employee of the team. That guy.
I don't know, man.
Or
Well, the
was.
radio, it was
Or
the
was.
radio crew. So I,
Yeah, so
I
a lot of times
assumed
the radio guys are. But we'll see.
he's just fat. They could have
Wow.
been talking about me.
Wow.
Quickly here, let's talk about this big golf tournament you played.
Yeah.
Give
So,
us the details.
Did
Did Doigie's teachings help?
Well, let me set it up. So
Yeah.
I've been looking forward to this since last June, because last June there's a bunch of us, a bunch of buddies I play hockey with. We go for a 2-day golf trip. And last year I was absolutely awful, but I hadn't played. So yes, it's frustrating, but I haven't played. So I didn't get my shorts in a knot about it. So this year I thought I'm going to go see Doigie. I'm going to get better. I'm going to start hitting the ball a lot better. I'm going to play more. And as you know, like last week after the show, we were talking. I said, I'm going to go play 9 holes. And you said, I'll come with you. And you just rode along in a cart. And I had some better shots at the back 9, still pulling the ball every once in a while. So here we go. Let's fast forward now after that last Wednesday to Monday. So Monday's day 1, and we're playing Usher's Creek in 9.
Really quick, what'd you shoot in Listowel? You shot 6
No.
over, right?
Yeah, it was like 42. It was okay.
It was pretty good. Like you were good.
I was
So
just
you're
not
dialed
goals.
in heading into the tournament.
Thought it was dialed in. Went and hit the range in Niagara Falls before game 1. And I was struggling on the range. I'm like, oh my God, I can't hit a ball. Anyway, I get up the first tee. It's a par 4, but it's short. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to just hit a 5 wood here. Just hit it 200 yards down the middle and be happy. I top it, and it doesn't even make the women's tee. That's how my round started. It was a painful round. Painful round. So I finish at 105.
Oh, Clarkie.
Dude, it was awful. Anyway, hold on. So in this tournament, there's 16 of us. Okay.
Yeah.
So after day 1, they divide the top 8 and the bottom 8. And the top 8 have what we do skins. So the top 8 guys, they'll go through each hole, and whoever got the best score per hole wins money. Right.
Right. Yeah.
I was 9th. So I finished in group B. Okay. I won 3 skins that day, even though I shot 105. But because I was competing with guys who had a worse score than I did,
sure,
I got 3 skins. So then that was at Usher's Creek. We go to Peninsula Lakes the next day. Beautiful course. Highly recommended. It's in Niagara area. And I'm on fire. I'm absolutely ripping it down the middle, all control, remembering everything Doigie told me. Shoot a 42 front 9, a 43 back 9, 20 strokes off my game, hit an 85. And Chris Clark was the big money winner of the tournament.
Wow.
Yep.
Congratulations.
Came home because now, I'm competing with the B group. And even there was only one guy in the A group who had a better score than I did in the second day.
So if you just had got your act together and shot maybe 90 the first day.
But dude, I did it right. I sandbagged the first day and racked up some dough.
You did sandbag.
I didn't.
You're a sandbagger, dude.
I didn't sandbag. I tried my best. The guys in my group with me knew I was not happy with my game. But there you go. So I'm happy. I got to get Doigie to thank him because my game in now, I feel it. I don't know what happened. I don't know what clicked, but something clicked overnight and it was good.
Well, it was my caddying at List.
Maybe, yeah.
I remembered. As a calming
reading
influence.
the green and everything.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I did a great job.
Yeah.
Good stuff, man.
So there you go.
That's perfect. Well, we'll get Doigie on soon to thank him because we got some stuff to review with him. I think I may have won our last tournament again. Yeah. So
we were changing the rules, by the way.
We'll discuss that with
money
the pro.
Thing is ridiculous.
We'll discuss that with the pro.
Yeah. Okay.
All right,
buddy.
All right. Clarkie's going to take off. When we come back, I'm going to have a great special guest on, the host of a show I've been listening to for a long time, Veterans Minimum Podcast, Nick Dais from New York City.
Nice.
He will be on the podcast to chat next here on Instigating. Welcome back to Instigating with Clarkie and Drury. Ryan Drury still here riding along with you. Clarkie's off to, I assume, work on his golf game after his tough showing on the weekend. We're very pleased now to be joined by a great special guest, a guy who I've been paying attention to for a number of years. I love his show, the Veterans Minimum Podcast, doing great content creation with Blue Wire Pods. It is Nick, better known as Lamb on Twitter. We are very pleased to have him on the show. Nick, how you doing, brother?
I'm good, dude. I've gotten to, I guess, cross paths with you on social media, if that makes any sense. A lot of times, especially when you're trying to build something from the ground up, early people that hit you up and send you messages or even tweets and comments like kind of stand out. And I've been able to now put a voice to the face of the tweets that I get throughout the years, man. So it was cool. I appreciate you reaching out.
100%. Well, I appreciate you coming on the show. Like I said, I've been listening to yours for a long time, way back when all the guys were with you, still doing it. And then you kind of have cut out on your own doing it the last number of years. And I mean, the quality has just gotten better and better. I guess for people who maybe aren't familiar with their show, and they should be after this, because I love listening to it. It's great betting content, but really much like this show, brought to you as always by Cool Bet Canada. There's a lot of just great general sports discussion on there too. Take us back to kind of the roots of Veterans Minimum and how this all got started for you.
Damn, that's a throwback. That's something I haven't thought about in a long, long time. So that's a great question. Got me thinking early. I mean, this could be dedicated to a podcast on its own, but I'll try to skim through the juicy parts and give you a story now. Early on, my buddy Joe, who I'm still friends with to this day, is a big content creator, a YouTuber. If you ever want to get under his skin, call him a YouTuber. He really grinds his gears. That's a good way to get him. But nah, man, all seriousness, he was early to the game, right? Like he's someone who he's been doing content for like 12 years now. And he was like, hey, I want to tap into sports. Sports media is something booming. I think podcasting is in its infancy. I still believe it is. I think that the evolution of podcasting changes every 3 to 4 months, like every season, kind of getting new stuff, new creative ways, new apps, the whole nine. And we started off as like a blog website. I don't like to write. It's not my strong suit. I can't do it. Don't pay me to do it. I'll say no. I can't put tweets together, let alone have to put a column. So I know my strengths. I think I'm pretty dope on a mic and in front of a camera. I feel very comfortable. So we started doing a podcast, and I, from day one, Ryan, I never wanted to be pigeonholed as one sport, one team kind of guy. To me, my goals were always, how can I get on Bill Simmons' show? How can I get on a Joe Rogan? How can I get on a Pat McAfee now? I didn't want to be a New York Giants guy only. That's my favorite team. A little spoiler. I did that too. I worked with Chat Sports for about 2 years where I had to cover the Knicks and the Giants. It's kind of boring to me, at least. So I like the general sports talks. Early on, about 80% of the show, if you listen to the early stages of VM, was basically produced by me. The segment Spitball, if you were familiar, was my idea. A lot of the general talking points, because I think the one thing with me with podcasts are I like selling you on interesting. I think that's the best way. You can get yards per carry and someone's per 36 anywhere, but people come to listen to you for your opinion, your personality. I feel like a lot of people in podcasting don't show their personality. And I've been able to carve out a pretty cool niche for myself, man. And over time, the podcast just grew stale to some people. Some people had real life pop up. Someone got married. Someone wanted a kid. Joe wanted to dive into the comedy side of things. My other friend just was like, I don't want to do it no more. And you can't force people to do things they don't want to do. That's one thing I've definitely learned over the years. And it was cool, man. Shortly after that, I got picked up by Blue Wire, and it's been one of the best decisions I've made. So that's the VM origin story to now, with many, many details left out, Ryan.
Yeah, we would have to do almost a biographical sit down to dig into everything, which you've touched on, the pod. I especially remember that time where the guys were kind of starting to get less involved and you kind of took it on by the horns yourself. And I got to say, man, I'm proud of what you've done with this thing. And it's really cool.
Thank
Again,
you.
everybody, you should go subscribe. You can find it on all the best podcast apps and the website, of course. Veterans Minimum is a must listen if you're a sports fan. I want to ask you a little bit, you brought up that the Giants are your favorite sports franchise. We should probably just get this out of the way at the early stages of our friendship so that we can just try and heal and move past this. I'm a diehard Patriots fan. I'm sorry. I mean, what do you care? You beat them twice in the Super Bowl. What do you care if I'm a Patriots fan? But being in that New York sports scene, this is something that I know, and I wish Clarky was here because he's such a diehard Leafs fan. It's something that we address a lot here based on where we are in Southern Ontario. We're an hour's drive or so from Toronto, and the scrutiny and the heat around the Maple Leafs organization, the Blue Jays organization right now in baseball, we think it's intense. And for Canada, it is. Like the Leafs, the scrutiny level there is pretty intense. New York is, probably for a lot of people, the big sports market. It's New York and LA. What is it like there when things are heated among sports fans? Knicks, the Giants, we know about the Jets, the Yankees, the Mets. I know you're a big Mets guy too. What is it like when the teams there aren't performing well? Like what kind of level of heat is among the fan base? What's it like in the bars, the streets, the gyms? What is it like there when things aren't going well for some of these big franchises?
There's not a fan base or city that overreacts in either direction more, I think, than New Yorkers.
I thought you were going to say that.
Yeah. New Yorkers, outside of the Yankees, who I would say are probably the most consistent franchise, but even there, you want to talk about overreacting, like, they win 95 to 100 games a year. They basically go to the ALCS every year. Look, I'm not the biggest baseball fan, but I love to bet, so I'm familiar with lines, and I follow the Mets. I could tell you about the Mets. I can't really tell you about everyone else. But, like, even with the Yankees, you want to talk about overreactions. It's like all hell has broke loose when they lose a Game 7 in the ALCS. It's like, dude, I'm a Met fan. They made the playoffs, 7 times in my lifetime that I can remember. So it's like, the expectations, I should say, are high. You talk about the Knicks, they win a Game 1 regular season opener to Boston, and that Bing Bong video goes viral. And, it's F. Trae Young. I don't know if I could swear on here. I kind of let him shred sometimes, but I'll keep it PG for you. It's very irrational, but you know what? They're very passionate. Are they delusional as well? Yeah, they could be. I like to be very rational with my sports teams. I bet the under on Giants wins the last 4 straight years, and I've cashed that ticket by, I'd say, like the middle of October, because they're 1-5 or 0-6. But it's just it's a very passionate city. I don't think there's a sports franchise, and I will die on this hill, Ryan. There's not a sports franchise in the world who is more starving for their team to be good than New York is for the Knicks to be good in basketball.
Oh,
Knicks,
yeah.
The Knicks win 7 games in a row. You think they just won the chip. Like, it's unbelievable. It is a basketball town. Growing up in the city, if you were a dude and you didn't hoop, whether you were good or not, we were just talking about on my show recently, it's like you were looked at by everyone else like, yo, this kid's a loser. This kid's he's lame. Like, how do you not play basketball? Even if you weren't good, it's like, it's the city's game. It's something that you played with your boys. Like, yo, what are you doing? It's 2:00 on a Saturday. Let's go hoop. You know what I mean? Like, that was it. So it's a basketball city. And the Knicks are, I would say the Knicks, they might be the number 1 team in New York, because prior to the Nets coming, who still, it's, like, whatever. It's all the hipsters in Brooklyn. Like, people are not really into, they're not really into the Nets. But like, for the longest time, the Knicks were the only New York basketball team. In hockey, you got the Rangers and the Islanders, so a little bit of a divide, bigger fan base for the Rangers. Mets and Yankees, bigger fan base for the Yankees. Giants and Jets, bigger fan base for the Giants. But there's still a majority, a healthy majority, like 55-45 splits, I would say, in either way, where you're rooting for the other team. But if you were a New Yorker, you grew up in New York, you were a Knicks fan. So the Knicks, when it comes to the Knicks, they do get a little irrational. It's a little loony sometimes, but I know I gave you a very long answer, but that's the gist of it when it comes to New York sports.
No, I love it. That's what I'm looking for. And I'm interested to hear that, right? Because basketball here, we've got the Raptors. That's it. They're kind of the lone standalone team alongside the Jays in baseball. So, I mean, the passion around the Raptors here has definitely increased the last number of years. Of course, winning a championship will help that. But I always just assumed from the outside looking in that the Yankees were like the number one dog. But I'm interested to kind of hear your perspective and find out that the Knicks are kind of the uniting force in the city. And it makes sense because, like you said, they were, the only ticket in town in terms of hoops for a very long time. Off that, what's the problem there? Like, what's going on? Does it really just boil down to the owner? Because, I mean, the Rangers have turned it around now that old Jimmy D has stepped off of releasing silly press releases and firing team presidents and whatever. And I mean, I think he's letting my cousin do his job as GM. So that's positive. What's up with the Knicks? Like, what's the problem here?
Well, I think you kind of hit it there, right? So for the longest time, there was this narrative around Madison Square Garden that Jim Dolan, like, he's the owner of the Rangers, but he doesn't care. He loves basketball.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know how many people know about this story, but one time he opened up for Billy Joel because he's in a band. Jim Dolan is in a band, and he opened up for Billy Joel, and he said it's an honor to perform in Madison Square Garden. It's like, dude, you own the arena. You can perform here whenever you want. So this idea, like, this guy is, he's a character, right? He's very interesting, but he cares a lot about the Knicks. He cares a lot about basketball. That's his like baby. That's his passion. And with Rangers, it's like, all right, you guys just handle it. Let's try to field a good team. Where he don't really sit in, from what I've heard and what I've read, right? Like, I don't know much. You would probably know more than me, but he doesn't really tap into the hockey side of things. That's why the Rangers have been one of the more successful hockey teams the last like decade plus. Like, I really got into hockey when I went to school in Buffalo. I went to Buffalo State for 2 years, and the Sabres were the be all end all over there when it wasn't the football season. And then when they intertwined, it was, it was crazy. And Ryan Miller, I think that, yeah, right. That was the goalie for Team USA for the Sabres. Yeah. When he was the goalie there, and like USA and Canada, the Olympic run, like, I really got into hockey, and a lot of my buddies here are big hockey fans. So I was, I have older cousins that are Ranger fans, and I was just like, yeah, I like the Rangers, but I really dove into it around 2010. And, a lot of playoff appearances, a lot of, they made the Stanley Cup conference finals. So they've been a pretty successful organization. But I think, dude, I talk about this all the time, right? And it's like, I feel like it's one of my better takes. And it's like this idea of winning championships. I think it's the one thing that's changed for me as I've gotten older and I've been able to understand sports more. Like, it's very hard for you to win a title. Like, no matter what, like, it is fucking hard for you to win a title. And it starts at the top with the owner. There's been so many coaches, so many players, so many GMs. At one point, is it like, dude, it's you. So that's where I feel like it is with the Knicks. I no longer get my hopes up about, Donovan Mitchell's coming and there's a big Greek contingency in New York. Giannis might come. It's like, no, until I see this and it's, holding the jersey up, then I'll believe it. Until then, I don't buy any of the rumors and the reports. It's just, it comes down to the ownership.
I certainly agree, and it's sad to see that happen because you're right. It all starts at the top, and if you don't have solid ownership, who really at the end of the day, you can be as passionate as you want, but when you mingle and get involved and put your fingers in the cookie jar a little too much and don't let the basketball, hockey, football, baseball, whatever people that you hire to bring in do their job and establish a culture of consistency, it really doesn't matter how much money you have, and Jimmy D's got plenty of it, and it really hasn't worked out in terms of the Knicks. Yes, the Rangers for the bulk of the last 15 odd years or so have had a lot of good seasons. Unfortunately, no cup to show for it. I think they are getting close, mind you. Pretty good season this year. I'm interested with your take on the Rangers just as a franchise. What was it like kind of seeing hockey really come back to the fore in downtown New York with the Rangers run this year, which was pretty impressive, and I don't know that a lot of people had them going that deep. What was that like for the city and that fan base to kind of come alive again after the the infamous letter of 2018.
Yeah, the letter that will live in Ranger fan lore. It was fun, right? The one thing that's cool, and I don't know how you feel about this, but again, I'm sorry that I'm plugging my show, but it's just like recent talking.
You should
points.
plug your show.
Yeah, but it's like recent talking points of like, how do you feel about bandwagon fans?
I watched this episode. It was, interesting discussion.
So my buddy Dylan, he's a massive Ranger fan. It's his favorite organization, favorite team. It dictates whether he's going to have a good 36 hours or not. And the way he loves the Rangers is the way I love the Giants. So there's a mutual understanding of like, no, there isn't next year. All right. We needed it now. And yeah, we overachieved or whatever. And I think that's what it was, right? Like they overachieved. And, whenever there's a team like the Rangers, or even a little bit with the Islanders too, those last couple of years where they made some deep conference finals runs too, people get behind those teams, and I'm welcoming to it. I think it's good for the sport. I think it's good for the team. It's good for talk radio. It's good for content. I'm not against like the bandwagon fans. I know you're not going to watch a Tuesday night against Edmonton. Like, I know that's not going to be your thing, but it doesn't need to be. It's cool. I'm a massive soccer fan. And when people hit me up about the World Cup, I'm not like, you weren't watching Panama and qualifying. It's like, no, you're not supposed to. That's not your thing. You get behind it because it's trendy. It's in the media. It's a thing going on now. But with the Rangers, what was cool was it's a very young team. Igor just won the Vezina. Fox won the Norris last year. Zibanejad comes over, and he was a dude that comes over from Ottawa, and it was weird because like he was kind of caught in no man's land in the sense where he was too young to like trade away, but he wasn't old enough for a rebuild, if that makes sense. Like he was in that middle period, him, Kreider, those guys. And the young core has really, the kid line became a thing. They were selling tons of merch with the kid line with Kako and Lafreniere and I forget the other guy's name.
Philip Hedl.
Hedl, yeah. So like, it was a fun team to get behind, and it comes out of nowhere. And when the one thing about New York too, to put a bow on that last conversation too about the New York sports team, when a team comes out of nowhere, it's even like 10x the fandom and whatnot, right? Like no one really expected the Rangers. Like my friend Dylan, the reason why I brought him up before, he's like, dude, we're gonna be really good in like 2-3 years. Like if we keep this core, he's like, it's the best chance we have at a cup. And then to see it happen this year was like, holy shit, they came out of nowhere. So that was kind of the expectations with the vibe in New York, but it was leading talk radio. It was all over the newspapers for the people that still read those, the 12 people that read newspapers. And it was dominating headlines, man, in New York.
Yeah, and it should. And I love their core there. They've got a good young base. I love their D-core, Fox, Keandre Miller, Igor and Net. They're well set up. I mean, the bread man putting up points. I love Panarin. He's a fun guy. My other cousin who coaches in the NHL got to coach him a little bit when he was in Columbus, and had high praise for Panarin. And I mean, he's got cup experience too. I think the Rangers are pretty close. I want to dig into your love a little bit more with the Giants. How do you feel about where they're at right now? Like Danny Dimes, I feel like we're getting near a point where the experiment's kind of coming to an end a little bit. I'm starting. I like the kid, and every now and again he'll make an unbelievable play, and you're like, there it is, but it's so fleeting. It feels like Barkley, we're so concerned about his health now, which sucks because he came storming onto the scene. He was a fantasy lock, and now everybody's worried about his lower body, and for good reason. Where are you at with what's going on with the Giants right now?
I love where they're at right now for moving forward. Now, that doesn't mean that I like what they're going to do this year. It's the most optimistic I've been about them in a very long time. I've been on record many times, many videos, many other podcasts that the worst thing to happen to this organization was 2016. It was a Band-Aid on a wound that needed 125 stitches. It was leaking, and they said, oh, here's $200 million in guaranteed money. Let's go get the top corner, top edge rusher, top D tackle, and let's, we make the playoffs. And then it's the boat picture, which lives in Giants infamy now too. Anytime the Giants lose, it's like they're 33 and 62 cents. The thing I like the most is that now with Schoen and Dable, they have guys running the team like it's a 2020 NFL team. And what I mean by that, it's four wide, it's passing, it's a bunch of corners because you need to cover all these wide receivers. There's no your number 3 and 4 corner now are starters. I think all but 3 teams in the NFL, like the 29 other teams, ran 3 wide receiver sets like 70% of the time. Like this idea that, he's our third cornerback. It's like, no, he's a starter, dude. Like you need to have 3, 4, 5, even 6 corners now. That's like kind of how I look at from a betting perspective, like who I'm going to take is like, who got the most DBs that can make plays? Like that's a big thing for me. But when it comes to the Giants, like, they take Ojulari last year in the draft, fell to them. He was a guy who was a top 15 pick coming out of Georgia, but the knock on him was that he had knee surgery. He had all these injuries. And it's like, this dude was a shoe-in top 15er. They get him. He exploded onto the scene last year, had an amazing season, right? And then you take Thibodeau, who I wanted Thibodeau from the moment that the Giants had a chance to get him. I was like, I want him. I think he should be the number 1 pick. I think it was crazy that they held the idea that he wants to build his personal brand against them, and that's why he dropped. I mean, I loved it because he's on my team now. Andrew Thomas had a shaky rookie year last year, bounces back. So now you're looking at it, dude, like, and this is gonna sound crazy, but I'm telling you, give it time. The Giants might have the best tackles and D ends in 2 years from now in the NFL. Like pairings, like it might be, you'll be seeing these PFF charts and all these lists like top edge rushers, and the Giants are going to be there if these guys, continue to hit these projections that they have. And then with Neal too, and Andrew Thomas, big concern, obviously, is the quarterback. I wanted Daniel Jones to be something so bad, and I fell for the hype, right? I think the way I define a franchise quarterback, what it means, going back to what I said before, it's hard for you to win a championship. But to me, a franchise quarterback is, as an organization and a fan base, we don't need to trip in the draft over taking a quarterback early for the next decade. Our head is on, all right, if you're the Chiefs, if you're the Chargers, you're like, we're not taking the Bengals, we're not taking a QB until like 2031. That is massive, right? So with the Giants, that's an issue that they have. So to me, Daniel Jones, they didn't pick up his 5th-year option, so it's clearly his last year. Can Dable fix him? Probably. He fixed Josh Allen, also he had a Stephon Diggs. So it's like, what are we doing here? Kenny Golladay, I was excited when they brought him in, but he scored as many touchdowns as we did last year. And Kadarius Toney has, he's known as Young Joker in the rap and hip hop era. That's like, he drops mixtapes and shit. So how focused is he on football? Who knows, right? But to me, 2023, 24, it's the most optimistic I've been. This year, I'm expecting they could compete for the 7th seed if everything goes right. But we're talking about the NFC is so bad that it's possible that like you get to 8 wins, you might be able to, make the playoffs.
100%. I mean, the future's bright there. Yes, you need that good field general. You need a guy. I like Danny Dimes, and he makes good plays sometimes. I don't know. His clock is, the sand is running out in the hourglass for him. But if they can get someone locked in at quarterback, they have a ton of young talent there, particularly, like you said, on D. I want to ask you a legacy question just in terms of the Giants. I mean, I've had furious debates with people over this, and I'm interested in a diehard Giants fan's opinion because I think he caught a lot of undue flack for a long time. In your opinion, quickly, do you think Eli Manning's a Hall of Famer?
Yeah, man. Come on. It's the dumbest talking point. And
so we're on the same page here.
Yeah.
And that's coming from a guy, he broke my heart a couple times.
Yeah. Well,
I think he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah. So here's the thing, right? Like, you can't write the history of the NFL without him.
Yeah, 100%.
So he's a Hall of Famer.
Look at the teams he beat.
Yeah. So he's a Hall of Famer, right? I think a big part of your greatness is your availability, your stability. Going back to what I said, the Giants didn't address the quarterback position.
He was always there.
Yeah, you're always there. The years that he made the playoffs and he won a game, he ended up winning the Super Bowl. He beat the Pats twice. Stability, like I said, a lot of it was not his fault that they didn't win more. And then towards the tail end, it was his fault that they didn't win more, right? But this idea that he's not a Hall of Famer, I think, was always comical. It's the one time where I'm like, man, I wish I wasn't a Giants fan because I come off like as a homer saying that he is. But I just think it's the most ridiculous debate, man. He's top 10 at the time he finished in all statistical categories that matters, even interceptions. Like, we're trying to break all the records. But to me also, I don't mind interceptions. I'd rather you interceptions than you be Alex Smith. I want a guy with balls. I want a guy that now don't turn it over in the red zone or in your 20. But if it's 3rd and 15 and you're trying to pick up a first, like, don't pick one. So what? It's a punt. It's a punt and they got a good return. Congrats. Like, to me, RG3 won Rookie of the Year back in 2012 over Andrew Luck, and it was because Andrew Luck threw more interceptions. Like, yeah, he also threw the ball 280 more times. Obviously, he's going to throw more picks. So to me, like, the debate of him being a Hall of Famer is the most, like, asinine conversation on social media.
I completely agree with you there. I think he's a Hall of Famer, and I think part of the narrative, too, is obviously the shadow of his brother and who his brother is. But, I mean, he has one fewer ring than Peyton, and the third ring that Peyton got, he really didn't factor in because he couldn't lift his arm above his neckline. So, yeah, I think it's silly. Man, I really appreciate you doing this. Like I said, I've been following your show for a long time. I love the content. We got to have you back on, of course, especially when football season comes rolling around and the bets are flying. Thanks for doing this, man. We could have went for another couple hours here. This was a fun initial chat. I hope the first of many. And again, you can follow Nick on Twitter at NickDais10. He is Lamb on Twitter. He is an easy guy to find. Follow Veterans Minimum on social media as well, and visit the website and subscribe to the show. I don't think you'll be disappointed, man. I really appreciate you doing this, brother.
Nah, thanks for the invite, dude. And anytime, let's figure it out come football season. Talk some bets. We didn't even get to dabble into the thing that pays the bills for me, so I'm excited to talk about that in the future.
100%. We will definitely delve in. All right, everybody. That's it for us this week here on Instigating. Remember, we're brought to you by Coolbet Canada, the Listowel Squash Courts, Listowel Vision Care, See the Game, and our friends over at Hanover Raceway. You can watch the show Friday nights at 8, Sunday nights at 9 on Whiteman TV. That is channel 6 for our Whiteman subscribers. We debut on our YouTube channel Friday nights at 9. Follow us on social media at Instigating Pod. We appreciate you listening to and watching Instigating with Clarkie and Drury. We'll be back next week.